Hey everybody, welcome into the channel. This is B&E Land and Sea. I'm Ben, and today we're gonna go over 5 of the things I wish I knew before I started flipping my first house. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Ben. My wife and I bought a house about 4 years ago, and we've been going from one side to the other, basically flipping the whole thing. The vast majority of that is up on YouTube on this channel. We've done everything from painting to ripping walls down to building new walls to this room I'm sitting in right now was actually an in-law suite added onto our house. It was an apartment, 1 bedroom with a kitchen and a bathroom and everything. I ripped it all apart. It's now my music studio. When we go to sell the house, it'll probably be marketed as a master bedroom. But that's just kind of a little bit of what we've done. But without further ado, let's get into our list here. I particularly like number 2, so hang out for that one. It's a good one. Starting with number 5. Make a plan for your project on the front end, even if it's just an outline or like a skeleton plan. There are so many times that myself mostly, and I don't know if this is specific to men over women, my wife wants everything written down and I'm just kind of like, oh man, we'll get into it when we get into it, And a lot of our projects have been that way because I primarily am the guy leading them and, doing them, most of them. However, I will say on the projects that we have sat down and figured out the entire scope, if you can kind of just like in your head go through it all and figure out, the basic steps, you don't have to get everything down to a T, but you'll kind of understand that for me personally, I'm always like, hey, I can do that in a weekend or I can do that in a few days, and it ends up taking longer than that. If you have a plan, you kind of understand A, budget, what things are going to cost roughly, B, you'll just kind of know like what you're getting yourself into rather than you're setting yourself up for success effectively. So that's my number 5 tip. Number 4 on this list is not if, but when things go wrong. It's okay. Embrace it. As you're doing these things and you're learning projects, things take time. There's gonna be moments of frustration. Sometimes there's a lot of moments of frustration, and that's okay. Don't let anything put pressure on you. Don't feel like this I've got to get this done type of deal. It will get there. It's not that big of a deal. The only person really putting pressure on you is you. And that's something I've really had to learn is as I'm going through, it kind of ties back into number 5. I wasn't making plans for a lot of this stuff. And in my head, I'm like, oh, I can do that real quick. But in reality, it does take longer. And then on top of that, life gets busy. You've got other obligations here and there. Really just be okay with it, roll with the punches, take things in stride, and just enjoy your life because time flies. I can't believe we've already been here for 4 years. It's wild to me, and I feel like a broken record. I feel like everybody that always talks about the weather, because everybody talks about how fast time goes. But truly, I'm gonna be 34 this year, and I honestly, the last 15 years of my life have just been like that. So really, just it's okay. Take a deep breath, breathe out. It's gonna be all right. Number 3. The first time you take on DIY projects, it will be very frustrating. Also rewarding, but very frustrating. At least for me, I'm not a perfectionist, but I like to do good work. I don't want to do shoddy stuff and just look at something that's like all hodgepodge together. To each their own. That's perfectly fine. But I guess I could say for this one, have realistic expectations. Understand that you are picking up a new thing for the very first time. And there's also a thing, I don't know if it's called beginner's luck. That's what I've heard people say this, but it's more like the first time you ever go to do something, it goes really well. And you're like, oh man, I could do that again. And then it's actually the second time that comes back when you go to do that again, and you realize that either you got lucky the first time, or maybe because it went so well, you've like become complacent, you're not trying I don't know what the word is. Maybe you're not trying as hard, but that does happen. And again, like the last point, just take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna get through it. Sometimes things just take a while to learn. In addition to that, as you go and you grow in what you know how to do, things will start to connect the dots and you'll actually be able to take on more and more because as you're doing things, I'm a big proponent of saying that common sense is directly integrated with how much you work with your hands. I believe that anybody who works like a desk job or is like somehow become a president of a company but never actually worked like with their hands, they should go and build a wall, just frame a wall. Or if you're CEO of a factory or a VP of a factory, go work in the factory for a few days. Actually understand the cause and effect of what you're doing because you almost get out of touch with reality. Back to my point, as you're doing these DIY things and you're adding to your arsenal of things that you know how to do, you're going to start to see just how things flow. And I've gotten so good at troubleshooting and problem solving that I can seemingly take things I don't even understand how they work and just start messing with them. And I see the relationships between things. And all of a sudden you can kind of fix whatever you put your hands on in that way. So many people look at me like, how do you know how to do all this? And I'm like, I don't. It's just problem solving. It starts with a DIY project and a moment of frustration. Stick it out. Number 2, and I touched on this one a little bit, I think with number 4, enjoy the ride. It's not a competition. It's not a race. This is something that you should choose to do because you want to do it, not because you feel like you have to do it. And even if you have to do it, say you wanted to buy a bigger house than what you can actually afford, and you feel like, I'll just put the TLC and I'll put some elbow grease in it and it'll be better. That's great. But still, what's the point of not enjoying anything? There's a term, anhedonic, that means like you have the inability to enjoy things. And I suffer from that sometimes. I can't shut my brain off. Don't let that plague you. It's happened to me several times. I put all this pressure on myself. I need to have this done by this weekend, blah, blah. And my wife would be like, man, why are you doing this? We should be enjoying this. We're building a home together and all this stuff. And that is honestly the 100% truth. And in the beginning of when we started doing this, that was one of the very hardest lessons and one of the very first lessons that, I failed to learn a few times. And experience after experience, project after project, it continued to beat it into me. And finally, I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna enjoy this. And I'll tell you what, this is gonna sound redundant and kind of stupid, but it's so much more enjoyable when you just choose to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Number 1, things will not always go according to plan. Even if you take my number 5 and you make an outline for a project, things will happen. Life gets messy. There is no way to guarantee any outcome of anything. Just as an example, this year for me specifically already, we are moving in September. And I have to get the inside of my house done in like the next 2.5, 3 weeks. And I don't have that much left. I'm right down to the wire. I think I have just enough time. But I work seasonally. I own a business. I work on campers in the summertime. And once the weather breaks, I haven't really made money since October. I need to go out there and make money. That's just, that's how I fund everything. This year already, I was helping to build an apartment for my grandfather. We got in a car accident, unfortunately. That knocked us out for about the first 2 months. And then my grandpa passed away. Those 3 months, I had so many plans for. I had all this house was going to be done. I was going to have time to spare. I was going to be able to go around and do all these little knick-knack things. I haven't even been able to start yet because of this stuff. I got injured in a car accident. That apartment took me longer than I thought it would. My grandpa passed, and that really shook me up, And these things are okay. And maybe I'm talking to myself. Maybe I'm probably talking to anybody out there that's type A, because I'm a little bit type A sometimes. I try to be relaxed, but I believe that you can have control over your general outcome of your life. Not every single thing, obviously. I'm already a third or fourth of the way into this year, and I've had almost no control over my house. So, good news is a dumpster's coming tomorrow, so I'll be able to start my project, and that's great. Anyway, on to the next point. For those of you out there that are counting, and you're like, well, he already gave us 5 points, and I advertised 5. You are right. But I am going to give you a bonus point. And this is probably the biggest one. YouTube lies. It lies and lies and lies. All social media does. So many people, especially with this new snap trend, just like that, and then all of a sudden the room is flipped around and it's 100 hours worth of work goes by because of editing. And that's the most recent thing. They've had all sorts of stuff where it just shows a man and a woman, husband and wife or whatever, that are just totally in sync with each other, never arguing, and the project goes perfect. And you might be like, well, that doesn't happen for me. Well, it doesn't happen for them either. It's a total lie. Don't get swept up in it. There are literal psychologists on staff at all these social media places that are literally, their whole job is just to try and retain your viewership. And the creators know that. They have this thing, there's a chemical called dopamine that your body releases whenever it feels a sense of accomplishment. And it's one of the most enjoyable sensations in the world. And what happens is now, with the way social media works, because our attention spans are going down, people have made these reels that give you a huge dopamine release, and they almost inspire you without ever having to go through the work. So your body's kind of like, oh wow, that feels good, but I didn't even have to get off the couch. And then the moment you do get off the couch, because you're inspired or whatever, you might come face to face and just get hit. And you're like, oh man, like, this is not as easy as it was when I was just scrolling, endlessly. Just take this from me wholeheartedly. I try to be honest in my videos. I think that sometimes I get tired of me, and so I don't put up all the tediousness, and that's not because I want to hide it from you. It's because number one, my GoPro overheats. I'm trying to solve that issue right now. But number two, it's because I get tired of watching me. It's not because I'm trying to hide it, but a lot of people, I think, are trying to hide the tedious nature of work, because a lot of this is, and a lot of this stuff does go wrong. Like, you try to put up a sheet of drywall, you might miss a stud 28 times and have holes all the way across. You got to scrape it all off and putty it in. That's just one example. There's also times that, just stuff goes wrong all the time. I'm not going to go too far down in the weeds with this one. Just remember, YouTube and social media lies. There is no way to escape reality. We are imperfect humans. We're going to live in an imperfect world, obviously. And so that means that projects are going to go imperfectly. That doesn't mean you can't attain good goals. It just means that it's going to take work. Don't get underwhelmed or overwhelmed by what you're seeing on social media. It's great to get good ideas from. It's great to I've got several people that I follow that I really have kind of like grown an attachment to. I almost feel like they're like my friends in a weird way. That's fantastic. Just remember what it is and take it for what it is that it's just another form of communication. It's not meant to form your life effectively. Just remember, social media lies. Well, that's all my points. That's all 5 plus a bonus. If that's not worth a like, I don't know what is. I'm just kidding, but feel free to leave a like if you would like to. Once again, this is B&E Land and Sea. I'm Ben. We'll see you guys back here next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. Thank you so much. God bless. Catch y'all later.